Somewhere right now, a screen in a control room is quietly tracking thousands of data points. Pressure in a pipeline, water levels in a reservoir, voltage across a power grid. One person, watching a handful of monitors, is effectively supervising infrastructure spread across an entire city or an entire country. That system is called SCADA, and it's one of the most powerful and most targeted pieces of technology you've probably never heard of. SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. It's not one piece of equipment, it's an entire system designed to do two things: acquire data from equipment spread across a wide area, and let operators supervise and control that equipment remotely. Think of it as the nervous system connecting a control room to hundreds, sometimes thousands, of physical devices scattered across a facility, a city, or a region. Without SCADA, every valve, pump, and breaker would need someone standing next to it, watching it manually. With it, one team can oversee it all from a single room. A SCADA system is built from a few key pieces. At the center sits the Master Terminal Unit, or MTU, the brain, usually software running in the control room, collecting data and issuing commands. Out in the field, RTUs and PLCs, the same controllers from our last episode, gather readings and execute those commands on physical equipment. Connecting them is a communication network, sometimes radio, sometimes cellular, sometimes fiber, often stretching across huge distances. And tying it all together visually is the HMI, the human-machine interface, the actual screen an operator watches, showing the entire system as clean, readable dials, maps, and alarms instead of raw data. Here's how it actually works in practice, in a continuous loop. First, sense. A sensor out in the field measures something: pressure, temperature, flow. Second, report. That reading travels back through the communication network to the MTU. Third, decide. Either the system itself or a human operator watching the HMI decides if action is needed. Fourth, act. A command travels back out to a PLC or RTU, which physically moves a valve, starts a pump, or trips a breaker. This loop can repeat every few seconds, continuously, for decades, which is exactly why even a small disruption to it can cascade into something much bigger. Two more pieces round out a typical SCADA environment. The historian is essentially a specialized database, quietly logging every single reading, every alarm, every command, over months and years. It's what lets engineers spot slow-building problems, like a pump gradually wearing down, long before it fails. And the engineering workstation is where technical staff configure the system itself, writing the logic that tells a PLC exactly how to behave. Both are incredibly valuable to keep the plant running smoothly. And both are increasingly valuable to an attacker looking to understand a target in detail. Now here's the part that matters most for security. Much of this communication happens using protocols like Modbus and DNP3, standards developed decades ago when these networks were assumed to be physically isolated. They were built for speed and reliability, not authentication or encryption. Many of them will accept a command from anyone who can reach them, with no verification that the sender is actually who they claim to be. It's the equivalent of a building where every door opens instantly for anyone as long as you're standing in the hallway. For years, that was fine, because almost no one could reach the hallway. Today, more people can. Once you know what to look for, SCADA is quietly running behind almost everything. Water utilities use it to manage treatment and distribution. Electric utilities use it to balance load across the grid in real time. Oil and gas companies use it to monitor pipelines stretching thousands of kilometers. Even building management systems in large airports or hospitals run on the same underlying principles. It's not a niche technology. It's foundational infrastructure, largely invisible until it stops working. So why would an attacker go after a SCADA system specifically? Because compromising the HMI or MTU doesn't just expose data, it can hand you direct influence over physical processes. An attacker who understands the system can send a false reading to an operator's screen, making a dangerous situation look completely normal, or send a real command to real equipment, disguised as routine operation. Unlike stealing a database, which someone might notice weeks later, manipulating SCADA can have consequences within seconds. A valve stays open too long. A breaker trips at the wrong moment. A pump runs dry. That's the difference between a data breach and a physical event. This is exactly why SCADA security sits at the center of OT defense. It's the layer where digital manipulation becomes physical consequence. Protecting it means more than firewalls. It means understanding these protocols, monitoring for commands that look routine but aren't, and designing systems that assume eventually someone unauthorized will get close enough to try. That's what's truly happening inside a SCADA system, the nervous system linking control rooms to the physical world, and a core concept in OT security. Next episode, the Ep.2 model, how these environments are meant to be segmented, and where that protection most often breaks down. This is Grid Matrix. Subscribe, and let's go deeper into the Matrix.